Yo people, welcome back to the YouTube channel. You already know what time it is. It's time for another video. Big up your damn selves in the building. Make sure you smash up the likes and subscribe every single damn time. Listen, we're coming off an emphatic, fantastic win against Burnley, 4-1 at Turf Moor. It was a game of two halves. Of course, in that first half, there was cussing, there was cursing from the fan base, and understandably so. We were getting bopped and bounced around that pitch by Burnley when they took the lead. And of course, we got that late goal in the first half to then give us the momentum to carry it into the second, and some changes were made with Jackson coming on and maybe a little speech as well from the boss. But we must improve that first half performance against the top opposition, Arsenal, etc., coming up in the fixtures ahead. And I want to talk about, give you a bit of optimism, I guess, encouragement as to what I think are guarantees to the issues we saw in that first half, guarantees to improve going after the international break, simply because of the context of the injuries and the profiles that we have been lacking and missing. They will be returning, and I think that by default will change some of these issues that we have. So in the first half, I was quite critical of the lack of support for the wingers. We're playing Cucurella and Colwell at left back and right back circumstantially due to those injuries. Of course, they're not overlappers, underlappers. They're not giving support to their wingers. They're not doubling up, right? They're not giving that extra decoyed run that is necessary to help a winger take on his man, create an opportunity, score a goal. That left us very predictable in those wide areas because I guess those players, in Sterling in particular, and we saw it with Mudryk against Fulham, had to take on 2-3 players to get anywhere because they are isolated. Now, that goes without saying. Colwell's playing. We'll talk about him for those height reasons. Cucurella is playing right back because there's no right backs. Gusto and James are going to return, okay? Back from suspension and injury. They will, for me, come back into the team. I think Cucurella kind of showed a little bit of, he can be cooked on that right back position with a tricky, pacey, techie winger. And it's not his favoured side. It's obviously when he's backpedaling, it's a little bit awkward. When you get a Gusto and a Reece James, we saw defensively what Gusto can do in pre-season. We know what James is like. Playing on their favoured side, that's going to help us defensively against a Martinelli who will probably play for Arsenal. Very important in the win against Manchester City. Very impactful off the bench. We need to play a right back out there to deal with him, as well as Cucurella has done in the previous games. But that also helps us going forward. The width, the lack of width that we had on that right-hand side, which really Gallagher had to compensate for as a right-sided 8. He had to go so many times in that game against Burnley to the right wing as Palmer came inside into a 10 or a right-sided 8 position to get on the ball, to switch play, to make those passes, to get those touches. Gallagher had to provide that width. If you have a right back like a James or a Gusto who's on their favoured side, offering you that width across the touchline, they are going to get far forward. They are going to overlap the right winger in Palmer, and we are not going to need to waste a midfielder doing that job that Gallagher had to do, which he did well. Now, that gives us an option, an extra midfielder to go and cater to the left. So if we are still playing a Colwell at left back for those height reasons, because we know that we don't have a lot of height in the team, we also know that our strikers are not particularly incredible in the air. Not only are they missing chances aerially, but then defensively, they're not your prime Didier Drogba's, even Kai Havertz at the near post on corners for defensive reasons. You can't add them as an extra body potentially to bail you out in those duels. So that extra height is coming in with Colwell at left back. Again, I'd rather not see it. I want to see him at centre-back. I've said it many a time. Maatsen at left-back would help this issue with Sterling and with Mudryk not having support. He would, of course, overlap, underlap. Is very good support, combination player, etc. But he is a massive deficit on height from set pieces, from aerial duels. When people go long, they might target him. It's happened before with Azpilicueta and Dele Alli at home, Tottenham, if you remember all those years ago. It's something that we have to take into consideration as a fan base, that height in this league is necessary. You do need to have a bit of height. You don't want to be bullied. So that's something that is playing in the mind as to why I think Colwell could be playing at left back. And if we are going to continue in the short term with Colwell at left back, or even if Cucurella goes over, who's not particularly attack minded, he's not a great crosser, underlapper, runner, shooter. If he moves over when, we move the centre-back in and we bring James or Gusto, we still don't have necessarily an attacking left-back in Cucurella, then that left half space is now the extra third midfielder. Whether it's Gallagher, who in my opinion is still better as a right-sided 8. We saw that for Crystal Palace. That's where he played a lot of the time. But you've also got Carney Chukwuemeka back from injury. And this is a player that in pre-season was playing in that left half space against West Ham. When he scored that goal, it was coming in off that left-hand side. He's a player that could link with Jackson, that was linking with Mudryk, that will link with Sterling and will bridge that gap between not having support and having support. You leave that left back situation similar to Arsenal with Zinchenko as a tucked in midfielder for Cucurella, or as a third centre back with Colwell. What do you need? A Xhaka, someone that pushes into that left half space to combine with a Martinelli, aka Sterling or Mudryk, and give that support. That is Carney. That is Carney. We saw it in pre-season. We saw it against West Ham before the injury. So that kills two birds with one stone. Now, when you attack, you have support for Palmer on the right wing with the fullback. You have support for Sterling or Mudryk with the left half space in terms of the attacking midfielder, whether that be Gallagher or Carney. And that all comes from the fact that we have the right back to play and do his job. And we also now can reshuffle the team in that way. So for me, those two issues there that we saw in terms of a lack of balance, a lack of support to sustain and continue attacks, to make our attacks better, that comes from the availability of those two profiles that we have not had. We know Nkunku can play in that left half space, he's been injured. We know Carney can play in that left half space, he's been injured. We know we have right backs that can go forward and can at least provide width in James and Gusto. They've been injured and suspended. Those two things, when they come back into the team, they change the dynamic and the balance, and they bring more balance. And then when Palmer tucks in, you have your outlet. Imagine Palmer on the right wing and Reece James overlapping with those crosses. It's beautiful. Imagine Carney combining with an informed Sterling or Mudryk. It's beautiful. Nkunku the same. And then you have your three centre backs and you balance out your team. You build with a three. You have your 3-2 build up with Enzo and Caicedo just ahead of the Colwells and Silvers and Disassis. It's balance. It's what you want, right? Now, the solution that was brought to me was, why don't we just play Disassi at right back, Cucurella at left back, Silva and Colwell in the middle, invert Cucurella into midfield as we saw in pre-season. He played that lovely assist in behind for Jackson, I think it was. And then, you know, you cater the rest of the team accordingly. I was playing FIFA. To make this very simplistic, to not get too, you know, informative with you, I was just playing FIFA. And I saw that Disassi's rating was 49. Disassi's got a decent... Look at his pace. Look at Disassi's pace. Oh my days. His pace is 54. His pace is 49. Oh, is he slower than Silva? 49. I mean, his pace was 49. We don't want... Listen, we don't want... FIFA are very accurate with their ratings. We don't want to see 49 pace at right back, dealing with tricky, quickie wingers. No. That was enough. Once I saw that rating from FIFA, who never get it wrong, they're very clear, concise, as you see all the players reacting with all the ratings they've been given over the last few weeks, Madueke's, etc. I'm not having a 49 pace centre-back playing at right back. I don't care what he did at Monaco, all right? 49 pace at right back is wild. So when I saw that, I said, Poch, fair enough. Understandably so, you don't want to deploy him out there. He could end up getting twisted and diced and sliced. So that's my reasoning. I'm not going to lie, FIFA. FIFA did it. But no, Disassi can play right back. We've heard about that at Monaco in a back three. He's played right side centre back as well. Is he going to overlap and get those crosses in and, you know, 1v1 when you're needing to take your full back on and maybe go past him, or a little bit of combination play? Has he got that fluidity to do that? Is it worth putting him over there and taking him out of the centre-back position where he's been so aerially dominant? And again, you're now taking a centre-back who's aerially dominant, who this season aerially has been disgusting. And I mean that in a good way. 83% aerial duels. Silva, not the tallest, sometimes aerially, you know, could be suspect if we're not careful, but mainly pretty good, but he's usually free. You take Disassi out there and put him at right back when the crosses come in, you've weakened yourself. Regardless of where you think Silva's at and Colwell, Disassi aerially is ridiculous. So you've weakened your centre-back, you know, pairing in the air. So you put him out on the flank. Is it really worth it? Is he giving you that width going forward? I didn't get to see him at Monaco at right back enough times to guarantee that that's worth the risk, worth the aggro. For me, it doesn't matter anyway, because when that right back comes back, it becomes a non-starter. You leave your centre backs at centre back, you put your right backs at right back, your left back or your left side centre backs at left back. So yeah, but that pace is alarming. Do you know what I'm saying? That pace is alarming. And then you got to move Silva across. Now you got 49 pace and 50 pace next to each other. It's mad. It's peak. That right side, geez, put a ball over the top there and you might cook. They called him the French Maguire. You know how much I disagreed with that when I had to mention it on his shout-out video. So yeah, that's kind of what I see. Now, the other thing, the last final thing, to make it 3 things, I guess, was the lack of press, right? Now, for me, Amanda Broja clearly showed in that first half he was not up to speed. He was not ready to be pressing relentlessly from the front. He was a bit sluggish. He was a bit, slow. Jackson comes on, and that Palmer-Jackson connection that we saw against Brighton with the goal, we saw it in tenfold again on the weekend. Those two were combining, and look what happened. I mean, I think Palmer likes playing with Jackson. I think Carney likes playing with Jackson. Cuckoo, this guy was just so nippy with his feet. He done a little lovely twirl in the middle of the park. Lovely quick feet, turned away from his man. He's always been very good for his ball carries, his dribbles completed. He just had to put the finishing boots on, and he did in that game. He's like one of those forwards that brings others into play. The amount of chances we create because he brings the ball from deep, brings it up the pitch, either wins a free kick and a foul with the hold up, or he passes it and lays it off for someone else. If our decision making collectively as a team can improve, which with Palmer it definitely does, Sterling, if he's actually on it, does, then we are going to be a lot more fluid in attack just with him on the pitch. And of course, when Broja gets up to speed, then he's going to start to compete. But Jackson came on and was just a bundle of energy. He brought life to the attack, life to the front line. That will help the press. And also Gallagher, of course, if you want to throw him in that left half space, he will also contribute to the press as well. Keep him higher up the pitch. Leave Enzo and Caicedo in that 2. Play with that 3-2 build up. Push the 4 back up. And we're cooking, people. We're absolutely cooking. So, listen, I'm looking forward to that game. Your right back is solving your width from the right. Your left half space, Carney or Gallagher, your potential solution is there for Arsenal to give your support to your left winger. And your press, you just go with the striker that's actually fully fit, that's actually at full capacity, and you let Broja work up his minutes and improve in terms of his fitness until he's completely ready to go from the get-go. I was surprised to see him start against Burnley. He's not really, he was forced to start against Fulham because Sterling was ill. He also looked very rusty against Burnley in terms of his fitness. Like I said, he wasn't quite ready. So we can build him up slowly. Both the strikers have scored now on their return. It's good. We have healthy competition, and Washington will hopefully smash it up in the under-21s. Let me know in the comments down below if I have eased your concerns. I've tried to explain it as best I can. I threw in a little bit of FIFA in there as well, just to give it a little bit of weight, because maybe you might not rate me tactically. You may think that I've explained this like a bozo. So I just thought if I could go to anybody, it's as reliable as it gets FIFA ratings. Do you know what I mean? It doesn't really get any better than that. They're pretty damn correct. They're pretty damn clear. So, if you don't agree with my opinion, then at least take the ratings for something. That's why Decisive didn't play at right back. But let me know what you think in the comments down below. Make sure you smash up the likes, make sure you subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time. Big up your damn selves in a bit, people. Peace.